Hedera Hbar, we have seen some success in cross-border payments. We're going to be taking a deep dive into this, and it is with one of the banks in Asia. They have completed a pilot successfully. We're going to be having a look at all of the results and metrics to see how Hedera has been able to provide the benefits for them. We will also be having a look at what Leemon Baird has said on BBC News in relation to energy and the environment as well. And of course, the price action of both HBAR and Souls for today. So all I ask from you are two things, which is to smash the like button and to subscribe to the channel as well. As I always say, write down in the comment section below anything that you want to say. I do try and reply to every single comment. I see that a lot of you guys have massive holdings in HBAR. I think the highest that I've heard of so far is 1.3 million. So keep dropping down below in the comments how much HBAR that you're holding, and also your price predictions. I have heard a few people saying that they predict the price to be $2 or 55 cents by the end of the year. So we do have a bit of a price difference in where we could potentially hit it. But again, I always like to hear your price predictions. So drop that down below as well. As you can see, market is green, and we have Maker who is up by 1000%. I mean, on the 1 year it's up by 294%. So you really can't fault that, from $611 to a high of 3.8k. Massive. Now, in terms of what we are seeing with the successful pilot, you may actually know this or you may not, but we have over here from Shinhan Bank, South Korea's bank, oldest bank, developed the South Korean won, or the KRW as abbreviated, as a real world asset on the Hedera network. So this is a currency that we're talking about, and this pilot was a continuation of an earlier POC, proof of concept, with Hedera governing council member and Africa's largest bank, SB Group. So we have Standard Bank over here, as well as Shinhan Bank, coming together and of course testing this pilot on Hedera's network to see what the results that they can get. So the pilot achieved real-time settlement and real-time foreign exchange rate integration across the Thai baht, new Taiwan dollar, and South Korean won in a test environment that aligns to current production capabilities. So why is this important? Well, of course, when we have a lot of people going to these different countries, in order to actually trade, you have to use the currency of that country, or for example, have to pay higher fees. However, we see over here we have the real-time settlement and with the real-time foreign exchange rate, because of course the exchange rate does vary rapidly, so we're able to get all of that integration together across these three different currencies. So this just goes to show that we were successful in Asia, and it seems like as if we are taking the lead on this in terms of this pilot. So the achievements, if we have a look at the before and then compare it to the after, for the operating hours, of course, we have the traditional banking hours, which is usually your standard Monday to Friday, probably 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. But afterwards, it is, of course, 24/7, aligning with the cryptocurrency market and making sure we had that real-time settlement so they don't have to wait, for example, a day later or 2 days later. For the lead time, we have 1 to 10 days. Now that can vary, right? It could be anything in the middle of 5 days, maybe as little as 3 or as long as 8. However, with the after results, we have 2.5 seconds. So you really can't beat that, right? Let's say even if it was 1 day for the lead time before, 2.5 seconds is obviously much faster than 1 day. Real-time traceability. Unfortunately, we don't have any sort of traceability before the pilot, but with the pilot, of course, we have it supported by design because we have that records. And the settlement currency was in US dollar. Of course, when it comes to stable coins, it's in the remit token, which essentially is the currency that it is in. And for the charges, you can see we have some high fees. I don't like looking at this. We've got intermediary fees of $20 to $30. To be honest with you, that could actually be used for something else. For example, with shopping. Never mind in terms of these cross-border payments. You have TTF from $0 to $6.20, and also a transfer fee of anywhere from $3.88 to $38.60. So not only do we have one fee, guys, but we have quite a few of these fees that these banks do like to charge, and it's unfortunate because of course that then transfers all of the costs onto the customer, which isn't really good because then we could be losing customers or not having as many. Now, after we have a 5-cent transaction fee, this is one of the reasons as to why the Hedera network is so popular and attractive when it comes to actually using their technology, because of course you really can't beat that. And when it comes to banks in general, with the high volume of transactions, this is going to add up into the millions, if not billions, when we see the high volume. So a 5-cent transaction fee is something that banks are really looking for. So because the stablecoin studio leverages both the Hedera token service and Hedera smart contract service, any EVM-based stablecoin issuers can participate using the framework going forward. And I actually just want to show you a comment that we have over here coming in from the chief of the blockchain division at Shinhan Bank and what they thought about Hedera, because he said that he was pleased to have partnered with Hedera to explore the potential of stablecoins as a means of facilitating cross-border remittances. Now, usually when we hear about cross-border payments within the cryptocurrency kind of niche, we do hear more about Ripple XRP or Stellar XLM, especially with XRP, because of course they have that massive support, and that is essentially what XRP is trying to do in general. But we don't really hear Hedera being mentioned, or perhaps maybe it is at a minimum, but Hedera is also one of those participants that can be within the cross-border realm. So the successful completion of this second proof of concept, because we already had the first one, this is the second proof of concept, marks an important step forward in our efforts to make cross-border payments faster, cheaper, and more accessible to people around the world. Of course, making it cheaper and faster means that you're going to have more users coming onto that network as well. And he also further highlighted the importance of leveraging blockchain technology for cross-border payments, stating that stablecoins offer a low-cost, fast and reliable way to transfer value across borders, which can help to increase financial inclusion and improve access to financial services for individuals and businesses in underserved communities. So those communities that may not otherwise have access to it, or perhaps were put off from the high fees as of before. So with the next phase of the proof of concept, they are now pleased to have demonstrated how the use of Hedera's EVM compatible technology helps eliminate the intermediaries, reduce costs, and speed up the remittance process. All of these three things which we essentially want is being able to take away that middleman, the intermediaries that were banking in on all of these fees, and now Hedera can do it by themselves, of course, by charging much less and reducing that cost. So pretty good and also efficient with the speed as well. Coming in from Astra Nova, they have been able to raise $1 million to further realize their vision of bringing Web3 gaming to the masses and showcasing the potential of DLT to fundamentally transform player engagement. Of course, when we have these certain projects, they do tend to go into funding rounds. It can be quite competitive, and especially being able to get that $1 million is quite good. And it is built on Hedera, so we're just going to take a look at their page if you're not familiar with them. But they are a Web3 RPG game. And you can see over here just a little bit of a short clip of their teaser trailer that they brought out on the 12th of April. But graphics does really look good, and it seems like as if it is a game that would be popular amongst many people. And with the $1 million, you can see that the media has covered it quite a lot. We have Markets Insider, Bazinga, we've also got Gulf News and Khaleej Times, because it is based in Saudi Arabia. So it goes to show that they are bringing some sort of attraction when it comes to their funding round. Over here from Leemon Baird, he mainly talks about the cost to the environment and what we can see when it comes to benefiting from not actually using energy in general, and why Bitcoin is, of course, inefficient.
Explain why the environmental cost of cryptocurrencies is so high.
So it's great that Bitcoin gives people the ability to have a decentralized money that they can spend without banks or anyone else in between, but it uses a lot of electricity, more than all of Ireland every year. And so this is not as green as you would like. And so we have Hedera Hashgraph that uses much more than 5 million times less, according to the University College of London report.
So will the environmental cost eventually decrease when we're using more renewable energy for these purposes?
No, because you're using renewable energies that could have been used for something else. The best kind of energy usage is the energy you don't use.
Which, to be honest with you, is really a great analogy, because the energy that you don't use, of course, it is not being used up right, but the energy that you expend, unfortunately, has already been used up in general. But we all know by now that Bitcoin is pretty inefficient. Yes, it does have the advantages of the fact that you're not being tracked, and of course, you don't have that intermediaries in between, and you can use your money as freely as you want to, or somewhat kind of more so than when it comes to fiat currency, I suppose, when you are using your debit cards. But he is saying over here that we have the advantage on the Hedera Hashgraph because we use a lot less energy. And I definitely think energy consumption is going to be a massive role when it comes to picking out these networks and from which projects align from one network to another and want to work with a certain network in the first place. Let's have a look at the price action of Source Swap today. We are currently trading at 0.0954, we are up by 2.62% on the 1-day chart. For the 24-hour volume, we are down by 37.31%. And we're trading at $864,000. So if we have a look over here compared to yesterday, where we actually went to a nice 0.1199, just below 12 cents, we've actually come down by 2.5 cents so far. Not that bad. On the 7-day chart, we are down by 18.99%. We did start off the week at 0.1129 with a volume of 1.39 million. Now, ever since then, I mean, midweek we went to 0.9, and then we took a dip to 0.0864, but we were able to go to the upside a bit. On the 1-month chart, you'll see that we are now down by 24.57%. As long as Source is up and above 8 cents, I think that would be pretty good for the price action in general. It's not showing any sort of weakness. It has actually been able to rally as well, don't forget, at the end of April. So let's see what happens with that. For the price action of HBAR, if we have a look today, if I can see it on the screen, I might have to go in the list. HBAR, we are 27th place, which is nice. We are usually 34th place or sometimes 32nd. So we've now been able to move up by roughly around about 6 spaces. So you'll see over here that on the 1-day chart, we are up by 2.2% and we are trading at 0.0992. On the 1-week chart, we are down by 16.3%. Again, we started off the week quite nicely at 12 cents. Midweek, we hit the mid-range of 10 cents. We did go to a low of 0.0917. And then on the 1-month chart, of course, we did have that rally with the piece of news from BlackRock. So for the price action of HBAR, I definitely want to see that 10 cents in the short term if we go to the upside. If we don't and we go to the downside, then I'm currently looking at the mid-range of 8 cents. But let's see if it can hold up and above the 9 cents so far. Guys, if you want daily Hedera, HBAR and Salsa Swap news, subscribe to the channel and like the video as well.